and in the last days it shall be. In Acts chapter 2, we wonder how to correctly understand and apply the quotation Peter made from the prophet Joel, the promise of Jesus to his disciples that they would receive a counselor, the Holy Spirit, that would be in you, John chapter 14 verses 16 and 17, and would, among other things, bring to your remembrance all that I have said to you. Verse 26, the Holy Spirit was given to the 12 on the day of Pentecost, when they were all gathered in one place. Acts chapter 2 and verse 1. The first effect of this was to enable them to speak in other languages. Verse 11, and gain great attention and opportunity to witness. Peter stood up with the 11, verse 14, and protested to those who mocked. Verse 13, that these men, obviously meaning the 11, are not drunk. Verse 15, but this event was the fulfillment of what was uttered by the prophet Joel, and in the last days it shall be, God declared, that I will pour out my Spirit on all flesh. It is evident that the disciples had a special dispensation of that Spirit, and had already received one portion of it. See John chapter 20, verses 22 to 23. It seems obvious that only the opening part of the quotation was fulfilled on the day of Pentecost. These were the last days of the nation of Israel, because they, as a nation, had rejected their Messiah. The rest of the prophecy Joel received, we conclude, applies to the last days of the Gentiles, and that surely is our days, or our time we live in right now. We read, I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood and fire, smoke and vapour. The sun shall be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the day of Yahweh comes, the great and magnificent day. An awesome time that we can parallel with God's many passages through the Old Testament prophets. For example, see Isaiah chapter 2 verses 12 to 21, Zephaniah chapter 1 verses 14 to 17, Malachi chapter 4 and verse 1. If they are not literal, what do they symbolize? Surely they can only mean God intends a fearful time to come on human beings in the last days, on our world that has become totally godless. But the verse for those seeking to be godly must note is the final verse 21 in Peter's quotation, and it shall come to pass that everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. But how can you call on the Creator if you have never established a relationship with Him? Those who did so on the day of Pentecost devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and fellowship, to the breaking of bread and prayers. Verse 42, may we follow their example.